Captain's Log, Episode 80. This week's episode of the Beer Avengers podcast is sponsored by the Beer and Cheese Collective, located at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. Tickets still available for their epic 9th anniversary birthday bash on June 24th, including unlimited beer, cider, wine, and food. Don't miss out. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items at the Beer and Cheese Collective. Home bar to yours truly, Captain Porter Brown Stout. Also sponsored by the Pony Bar at 1444 First Avenue on Manhattan's Upper East Side at the corner of 75th Street. Open since 2009, the Pony Bar is one of New York City's craft beer pioneers, the first bar in New York to exclusively pour American brewed beer, and of course, the birthplace of the Beer Avengers. Check out their daily happy hour from 4:20 to 6:20, Tuesday through Friday, and all day Monday. The Beer Avengers is an unscripted podcast, except for this part right here where sometimes I'll try and write down something to tease out the elements of the episode, try to varying levels of success to say something clever and or witty, but I'm not doing that for the duration of the strike currently going on between the Writers Guild of America and the producers, the AMPTP. Got a lot of friends who are out there on the picket line, and I just want to do this out of support. We're not writing anything, but we do want to support them. So if you see them on a picket line, go hang out with them and maybe buy them a beer, because it's essentially the least you can do. So support the writers. I would also like to say that this episode is dedicated to the memory of Eileen Birch. Remember to like, star, and subscribe whenever that feels appropriate. And send us your emails at thebeeravengers@gmail.com if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you just like hearing us talk about you on the show. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 80, Safe is Beside the Point.
Well, we're the beer Avengers, beer Avengers, beer Avengers. We're the beer Avengers?
Yes, we
The
are.
Avengers!
Okay.
The Beer Avengers!
The Avengers? We're the Avengers? We're the Avengers. Welcome to the Beercast, everyone. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens, I am Captain Porter Brown Stout.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in the 5th largest city in California, this is the Pale Male, Hophead Huck.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the County of Kings, it is I, the Beer Wonder.
And we are
The Beer Avengers? This is feeling like an identity crisis, gentlemen. Like, I don't know if we actually know if we're the Beer Avengers. Like, have we reached that point where we're just not?
The
It's
Beer
like,
Avengers.
I do want to clarify. If you're wondering, you're half Jewish, right?
yes, I am.
Okay, so we're allowed to speak in those kind of intonations.
Well, we're also like that's like New York. That's like part of New York. Gotham,
we are.
the County of Kings.
We started to lean into the accent so much I started to feel vaguely anti-Semitic. But you're here and you give us permission, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, fuck Nazis. We'll just take care of that.
Oh
Fuck
yeah.
Nazis.
So fuck Nazis. Sure. Yeah. That's that.
I'm pro-Semitic myself.
There you go. See, there you go.
I'm very pro-Semitic. Yes. All right. Well, welcome everyone.
Anti-religion, but I'm pro-Semitic.
As you can tell, the three of us have had a lot of stuff going on today.
But no beers, oddly.
I know.
I had a fake beer earlier.
Okay.
I know. Because with our job, we had that anyway. But I was gearing up for tonight. Yes, we've had ice cream, we've had charcuterie, I've had beer, but none of that compares to being here with you, all the Beer Avengers out there for our wonderful after work midsummer session.
Yeah. It really is midsummer. It's got that like at least Gotham is definitely feeling the like hot vibes right now.
I mean, summer hasn't started yet, but yes, midsummer.
Well, yeah. I mean, the weather feels that way a little bit. You're right. That's
true.
We don't want to be fake news.
Not yet.
Back when fake news actually meant something. Actually meant news that wasn't real as opposed to news I don't like. Anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Ooh, very good. Hey, we could talk about what we don't have any. There's no boundaries here on the Beer Ventures.
We can talk about all those things, but I think we'll
except
enjoy
being
talking.
offensive.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, yes, we don't want to be offensive, and if we do, we will apologize to be sure. And if anyone thinks we are, anyway, but we're getting way ahead of ourselves because we're all
Can I just
sitting here with empty
apologize for all
glasses.
the apologies that we've had so far?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, you're right. I should have apologized first. Anyway, man, we're all these apologizing is very polite, which makes me think that someone needs to pour a beer.
Yes.
But I'm not sure what the most polite way of doing this. I
Oh
think.
my gosh.
I think we should sit here in silence until someone
No, I
decides to take initiative.
Really?
You mean until Elijah shows up? Oh, did I
All right. Hey, Hophead Huck, why don't you go first?
Okay,
That
great.
sounds like
Well,
a
I'm
good
gonna
idea,
do. I'm going back to another brewery that I've had before, but it's a different style, and I don't think we haven't really talked a lot about this style on the show. This is called Breakfast Hustle.
Ooh,
It's a coffee cake golden stout.
good
Now,
lordy.
I mean, the captain. I don't know if you cracked a golden stout on the show before, but we need to talk about the style because is it a stout? Is it a golden ale? Is it coffee cake? Well, they say it's coffee cake, so that's I'm looking for that.
Coffee cake has been established. Okay.
And so let's get this baby open and see what she looks like. First of all,
I know.
Right. I'm looking
and
forward
New
to seeing
Glory
this.
Brewing. We've had them. I've had them before. This is
Excellent.
a right-handed pour. Here we go. All right, so let's take a look at this baby. Right away, I'm seeing gold.
It's
No,
gold.
It is very gold. I mean, I
Yeah.
would
like
say.
a West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
I mean,
to the
I've had a few golden stouts, a few white stouts, and I
Blondes,
figure blonde stout. Yeah, I feel if we can't have a golden stout, then we can't have a black IPA.
True.
Okay, that's fair. All right,
Mhm.
very good.
I think
So
that's valid.
I think it's probably fine.
Let's see what else we have on the board today.
Captain, I think you're up next.
All right. Well, I have something very unusual. I have a
Sponsored pour.
That's right. I
No
have a
way.
sponsor. I do. We have actually, as you heard at the top of the show, we have two sponsors, at least for this month. But this one is not from the Pony Bar, although we have some wonderful things we'll be sharing from them at some point in the future.
Can't
But
wait.
this is a sponsored pour from the Beer and Cheese Collective, 35-11 Ditmars. Well, I mentioned when I went last time, I got a wonderful beer that I had not had before. This is one I have had before. It's from our friends at Grimm. We've got a lot of stuff from Grimm. And this is their single negative.
Ooh, good
yeah.
one.
And I will talk a little bit about how I think this is about a 5.8% ABV. I'll talk a little bit more as we get on to things about how this was conceived. But for now, let's just look at this wonderful pour.
Oh, that's real pretty.
There we go.
Real
I
pretty.
love Grimm. They're just still my favorite New York
Yeah.
brewery.
Yeah,
It's-
pretty
Look at
fantastic.
that nice golden head on that.
That's a beaut
Caramel
of a
look to
beer.
it.
hmm
Oh, yeah, I forgot to do that bit.
I know you got to show it off for the people so that for the Instagrams, you know,
Indeed.
because that's what the people are here for. It's not just the sultry sounds of our voices in their ears, but it's also the visuals that come on the gram.
They're craving video content.
Exactly, that's what the people want. So we got to give them what they want. And you know what? You know what I want? What I want.
Sponsored pour.
That's exactly right. That's what I want. It's a sponsored pour from our friends at the Beer and Cheese Collective, 35-11 Ditmars Avenue. Coming up to their anniversary. Boulevard, thank you. That's not Avenue. Close enough. Well, you know, it's Queens, so you actually do have to be specific. You know?
do.
Yeah. But very exciting. Their birthday party is coming up. I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit, their anniversary party. But I have been supplied by the provider with Duchess Ale's Halcyon Pale Ale, which I just kind of dig the fan art because it's like a reverse
Whoa.
like person who's going oh gosh, it's the thing you guys do in California on the coast with the boards. Surfing, that's the word I was looking
I
for.
see.
Yeah,
Except
see,
like,
but
they
it's-
look like
we go through
they're
black
like an
holes.
inner tube, though.
I think it might be an inner tube. I'm not 100% sure what's happening, but the person is clearly underwater or
Well, that's
something
true.
is not going quite well with them. But this I'm kind of intrigued by this one because all the descriptions talk about how this was born out of sort of a Belgian style pale ale with more of an English American lens. So I'm excited to see what they have done with that. So let's find out. Oh, it's jumping right out of the can. Here it is.
Take a look.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
all right.
Nice
Yep.
little bit of haze there. Yeah, it's funny
Good,
that inner tube. When I first saw it, it's like that inner tube is like a Rorschach test. Like it could be
Yeah.
like it's like it could be like a fancy donut. It
I
could
know.
be like someone roasting weenies. It
I
could
thought
be
it was
a
a black
turd.
hole.
Yeah, it could be all.
Could be a turn. Well, I went to surfboard apparently, which I guess I don't know what that says about me, given that I grew up in the upper Midwest where you don't go surfing because there are lakes. And then
Yeah.
we moved to New York City where you can go surfing, but like, I mean, people do, right? They go to the Rockaways and they surf
Yeah, apparently.
in Long Island.
I think that's true. I think that's why they call it Rockaway Beach.
Oh, you can hitch a ride to Rockaway Beach.
Rockaway Beach.
There you go.
So let's see that again.
Oh,
now that we've talked,
you need to see the beauty.
I do. Yes. Lovely
Mhm.
indeed.
Mhm.
All right. Well, now that we all have our pours, gentlemen,
Thank goodness.
Avengers. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Santé.
Oh, that's very nice. Very, 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 very positive to be a negative.
Mm. Ooh,
Mm.
this is a surprisingly hoppy pale ale. I really like it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Got they apparently they're I mean it's got that like intense noble hop. It says it's primarily I can't tell what it is actually based on what I'm trying to read here. So anyway, they refer to it as a noble hop, but it's definitely got a really intense bitterness off of it.
Uh-huh.
It's very, very nice. Kind of just wakes you all up. And it is cold fermented using their house lager strain, which is very cool.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Mm.
Now this breakfast hustle,
Mhm.
it's made with a blend of Valiant coffee, that's a brand name,
Okay.
cinnamon, cacao nibs, and Madagascar bourbon vanilla extract.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I get all that really. I
Okay.
I get the coffee, which is nice. I just don't get a stout. I don't think they should call it that.
You think
What's
even if you had
missing?
a blindfold on, it would not taste like a stout to you?
I'm already on the nose. I'm like, because I get no notes of
Yeah.
it has cacao nibs. I really don't get any notes of chocolate or that coffee. Well, I get coffee, that stout aroma and flavor. I mean, I don't get stout. And I had another one recently, a golden stout. That being said, I actually quite like it. It reminds
Yeah.
me more of a Belgian ale with like just a lot of like sugary stuff in it, So
Yeah.
it's or like a blonde, right? It's actually 7.3%, so it's
Oh, nice.
And I do get that coffee flavor, but I've had coffee cream ales before, stuff like
Sure.
that.
Coffee blonde.
Yeah.
I would call this a blonde ale. I mean, I don't know what process they went through, but golden stout. I mean, I guess maybe they're just trying to get craft. Oh, I did it again. We put my head up like that. We're gonna put this down like this. I guess they're trying to get a new style out there, and God love them. Maybe it is a new style, and because I don't think it's officially recognized by the.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's
Brewers
not recognized by the
Association.
BJCP.
But you get notes of freshly roasted coffee on the nose. Yeah, I have flavors of sweet cinnamon streusel coffee cake. on the
Streusel.
palate. Streusel. Best enjoyed with actual coffee cake. I thought about
Hey.
that, but I was like,
That'd be a good pairing. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, you
really
could-
trying
Like
not to snack, basically.
Well, also, we acquired tastings already exists.
That's
We-
that's their gig.
We
don't
just
step
stay
on
in
their
our
toes.
lane.
Yeah. We just drink and talk.
We just drink it up. So
That's
it's
right.
good, though.
Drinking and
Good.
talking.
Drinking and talking and chatting. Sometimes we do the picks and pours, or picks and pints.
Picks and pints,
What is
picks
it?
and pours.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly we drink and we talk. It was
There's something about it that reminds me of something else, but I'll work on that as we go.
yeah. I mean, I find that I've had a few of that style of beer, and I never feel it's quite what it claims to be. But I always have had some good ones. In fact, last year when I was in Dayton for the Golden Mile, have not seen a lot of Dragon's Milk in New York for a while, and I saw it almost everywhere there, including a golden version of Dragon's Milk. By the way, is a bourbon barrel aged stout from New Holland, Michigan. New
I've had
Holland.
it.
That's the name of the brewery, right? New Holland. Yeah. For some
Mhm,
reason,
mhm.
is that the name of the city? But that's also the name of the brewery. And it's one of my very favorite beers of all time. So worth going to Ohio for. But I had a golden version of that when I was there, and it was good. It wasn't as good as the regular one, but it was good.
Right. Yeah.
So, like the idea of the style aside, Huck, is it a good beer?
Yeah, I think it is a good beer. It's a little sweet for me, like an everyday beer, but as a one-off, yeah, I enjoy it.
I don't know that the blonde ale, the golden
Get
ale,
a lot of that
the,
vanilla.
Yeah.
the whatever we're
Yeah.
calling. I don't think that that's meant to be just like an everyday beer. I think that these are occasion beers.
Yeah,
These
That's
beers
fair.
want to show up. They want to take center stage. They want to do their solo, and then they're going to leave. And then they're done for the night.
Yeah. Well, the
And
interesting.
those are my thoughts.
Yes, no, those are good thoughts. This one I have, the single negative, I've had it a few times before, although I don't know if they've refined the recipe since they made it its own standalone beer. When they originally made single negative, it was like remember when Globehopper was on recently,
Yes, I do. I
Uh,
do recall that.
and he was talking about some Wild East beer that was like sort of made from the dregs of another one.
Yes, I recall that. Yes,
The
yes,
deal
yes,
is
yes.
it was a low ABV they used with sort of the leavings from another, and I
Yep.
believe that is the first way the first time they released single negative. It was
Oh.
sort of part of the runoff from a double negative. For those of you out there who haven't heard about this before, Grimm has a wonderful imperial stout called Double Negative, and this is meant to be a version of that. Initially, just from the runoff. But this, I believe now they're just making it on their own with its own recipe, and it's just a really good, solid. I mean, it's interesting because it's like a 6.8. I think I said it was.
Oh, really?
If I got that
Mm.
right,
That's a
maybe
big
a little
single.
It's a drinking
bit.
beer.
Yeah, but also much lower than it's like lower than most imperial stouts. Definitely lower than your average for an export stout.
Yep.
So it's a little high for a standard stout, but really very tasty. In fact,
Good.
the next time someone else starts talking, I'm going to look that up and make sure I have that ABV because it might be 5.8, but I said 6.8 off the top of my head.
Well, I was the captain today sent out
Yes.
the old spreadsheet of the beers. We've
Oh,
had,
yeah.
and
Yeah, well, I
thank you
hadn't
for
shared that with
sending
you guys in a while, and I just updated it.
I know. It was very
And-
exciting.
And thank
It's
you
always
for the
very exciting.
updates.
We now have 2 sheets on it. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
There's two
Yeah,
tabs because we ran out. You actually can run out of space on a spreadsheet. Here.
Who
Well, I
knew?
was looking at it on my phone, so I couldn't really
Yeah.
tell how big the page was. But I noticed this very second episode, I brought a beer in called Seconds. That was the
Yeah, it was a
Grimm
dark mild, right?
Dark Mild, and it was the runnings off. It was the second or third runnings. I think it was second, I guess, because they called it Seconds off of the
Yeah.
double negative. So, yeah, and it was a very low ABV. It was about less than 4%.
Yes, I recall that.
It was really an interesting beer, very tasty. The word ashtray comes to mind, but I don't know, in a good way.
Well, you can have a positive.
I don't get
I
that
agree.
ashtray vibe with the golden stout. Coming back to the golden, they're made without roasted malts. They're made without dark malts, which
Okay.
to me is what makes a stout or a porter a stout or a porter.
Right.
So
Otherwise, you
it's
have to make it up with
mimicking.
adjuncts. Yeah.
It's
Right.
mimicking the flavors of a stout, and so they're calling it a golden stout. Sometimes they call it a blonde stout.
I think tropical stout does a better job with it as far as mimicking things.
It's
as far as-
valid.
I'm getting a lot of coffee, which I like, so I'm happy with that. And it's not too sweet. I'm getting vanilla on the finish, a lot of coffee up front, and coffee on the mouthfeel as well. So I'll give it a good marks.
I
It's
do need
almost
to
gone.
correct. Yeah. I guess. I guess that's a good review.
I need to keep tasting
I-
this.
I need to correct myself before we go full huck up.
Thank goodness.
5.5%. I don't know
Okay.
where I got 6.8%. It's been a long day. That got shifted around a few times. But
wow.
no, this is a 5.5%, or as a Halftime Beverage describes it, a demure 5.5%.
Demure.
Yeah, but it's.
I like
mean,
that.
it's definitely really it is a stout. It's not a Schwartz beer. It definitely has that full flavored thing. more sipping than quaffing or crushing or anything like that. But it's a really nice beer. Good
Got it.
summer beer, I think.
I should also mention that my Halcyon Pale Ale was a 5.6 ABV because I had
All
not
right.
mentioned that. So it's all
So
she's a lighter one.
So I'm the lowest ABV of all three of us.
You
Is
are
that actually
yes,
happening?
which is a continued disappointment, Captain.
I'll try and make that up before the end of the show.
Thank goodness. We have
There's a
work to
teaser
do.
for you.
Speaking of, you have hit a large drinking milestone that I do feel needs to be commended to the drinking public.
I did. I've talked about my Untapped. That's always how I try and. I don't register all my beers there. I almost never register flights there. Most of the beers I've had on the show, I haven't registered there. Despite all of that, it appears that I have registered just over 1,500 unique beers on Untapped.
Wow.
And beer number 1,500 was quaffed or maybe
Quaffed.
sipped at a very special event, which was the
Mm.
Pony Bar's 14th anniversary party.
Yeah. That was quite the day. I know you now I have to hear reports because I was with Tripel, always a Tripel, but we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, you
And
guys to come join us.
Yes, we were both a little under the weather, unfortunately.
Hope you didn't have any bad muscles or anything.
I don't. Well, that probably was the source, but
You got the Beer Avenger virus.
I know. Yeah, actually, and I'm
Finally.
kind of not kidding because we actually did have muscles the night prior.
Oh,
So
you did? Wow.
we did. So that
Did
may
learn
have
your
been
lesson.
that may have been the curse. But yes, we did both have some bad. We were not feeling great, so we were sad to miss it. But how did the Pony ring in their 14th year?
It was fun. It was low key, but there were like a lot of regulars there. Usually you show up with your shirt or your hoodie. It was too warm for me to show up in my hoodie. I saw one woman there in a hoodie. So a
Wow.
lot of people there with the regular shirts. The guy sitting next to me at the bar, well, he lived in the neighborhood, but he was drinking his special 1,000 beer member glass. Because
Oh,
that's
nice.
the way it's like. Once you have 1,000 unique pours, you get you get your own. You get a bigger glass for the same price. So that's very wonderful gift. But I was there in my shirt. And the Belgian Babe joined me. Had a few beers. They have this is I don't know why I'm mentioning this one, just because I was excited about it. They have fried cheese curds at the Pony Bar now.
Really?
Ooh,
Ooh,
I like
that
fried cheese curds.
that warms my Midwestern heart. I'll say that.
Although the first time I ever had fried cheese curds was in upstate New York.
Well, that's a you problem.
No, it's not a problem at all. We didn't have them in Ohio. Ohio is Midwest, but we didn't have them there.
I guess I should be
Also a
clear.
pretty
Up-
Canadian thing. So
Upper Midwest, like bordering Canada,
Yeah,
that's where
but
you get your cheese curds.
I feel like it may be close to Canada, but if you're in like the Syracuse area, it's kind of the Midwest. It's not the Midwest, but it has a lot in common with it.
That's true.
Well, it's like what was it? What was the old Tennessee Williams quote? That there are what is it? I think there are 3 cities, and that would
Yes.
be New York, New Orleans, and San Francisco, and everywhere else is Cleveland.
Ugh. LA is going to be real pissed about that.
Shout out to Cleveland.
Yeah,
Well, Tennessee wasn't, LA wasn't what it is now.
that's true.
But also, LA isn't really a
But-
city. It's a
Well,
place
it's
where
just
people.
huge.
It's where people spend most of the time in their cars in LA.
Oh,
Well, but you have Chicago, which is a true
people.
city. Like Chicago's
Yes.
a real city.
Yes, although
yeah.
you could make a case for Chicago also being Cleveland.
It's very
Can I-
close. Yes.
Can I make a hot take that's maybe not so popular?
Okay.
I'm not big on San Francisco.
You know,
Okay.
I hate to say this, Huck. I lived there for a brief period of time, and I enjoyed my stint there. But I once I left, I was like, no, I'm glad I don't live here.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it per se,
No.
except the hills. It's very hilly,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's not. I just don't ever feel like there's much going on there. But maybe it's just me because I just haven't spent enough time there. Being a New Yorker also was like, yeah, come on.
Now watch, I'm going to wind up looking this up. It turns out Tennessee Williams was only talking about New Orleans and New York, but I think San Francisco is on the list, but I'm not positive.
Well, knowing Tennessee Williams and his vibe, I feel like San Francisco would definitely fit like his aesthetic,
Yeah.
which is the word that the kids are all saying now. FYI, I'm trying to be cool again. So,
but I say
I
when-
was
when-
using that term back in the '80s.
You know what?
But
Anyway,
I feel like what those three cities all have in common is there really is, no matter how much you like it or don't like it, there is no city quite like those cities.
That's true.
And Chicago is like a huge Midwestern city. So that's what I mean when I say it's also Cleveland, because like all of like Middle America is very much a part of Chicago.
Fair enough. And Chicagoans,
so
if
than
you'd
the other
like,
ones, yeah.
if you'd like to send us hate mail, it's thebeervengers@gmail.com.
I thought what I just said was fairly complimentary, but
I thought it was too. I'm
I was
just saying,
it, very
they will
salt of
ha-
the earth people, yeah.
they may have some feelings, and here's the thing: if
More
you
so
send
than
an
us
email-
heathens in New York, but yeah.
That's true. But if you send us an email, we'll read it on the show because, like,
we definitely will, yeah.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. So if you'd like to defend Chicago yourselves, you're more than welcome to send us an email. We'll probably read it.
I've
debate
actually
it.
never been.
What? Oh, Chicago is a lovely town. I've spent a decent amount of time there. I really like it.
I was there for about a
O'Hare.
week
I've been
before I
to
moved to
O'Hare.
New York. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was a nice idea.
But you were at O'Hare, like you transferred to the airport.
Yeah, like 100 times.
Ugh, sorry.
Not 100, but quite a few.
Yeah.
But I've never been to Chicago. No, I went O'Hare. You can see the skyline from in the distance sometimes, but
Yeah, but O'Hare is.
I've looked at it from the airplane. But
It's not a
looks
great
like-
airport.
I'm now trying to figure out how we segued into this because we are not crushing the segues here tonight.
we were doing
No.
Pony.
yeah, we're
Yes,
talking
the
about
pony.
Now, did you get anything for being an untapped
Yeah.
at 1500? Yeah. Did you get a prize or?
No, I got no prize. But
Did it even give you like a badge? You'll get like a fun badge.
Must have got a
there
badge.
should be, but
Okay.
for me, the accomplishment itself is its own reward.
Oh, well,
Oh, hell yeah.
it's the journey. That's true.
But yeah, the
What else do you
Belgian
like to say?
Belgian Babe and I had some wonderful beers there, and the that fried cheese curds. That's how it all came into.
Right, that's where
What
it
I
came.
talked
There
about,
we
yeah.
go. Okay,
And we're
back. There we
and
go.
we are. But yeah, so we had that. We had some nachos, had some wonderful beers, and they were pretty hopping. First we were like sharing a barrel because we thought we were waiting for you and the Tripel.
Yes.
I almost said the Tripel man, but that's someone else altogether.
No, that's someone else.
Yeah.
Tripel, always a
always the Tripel.
Always a Tripel.
But you and I and he were at the pony
Yes.
a week before.
We were.
Which was that his inaugural pony trip?
No, so he's been in the past. He's been a few
Okay.
times. But as in his named form, it was his first time. Let's be clear on that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's
As a
that's
beer venger.
as a fully fledged beer venger.
Yeah.
So but no, it's a favorite spot. When I mentioned that you and I were thinking about going to have a beer there, he kind of said, "Well, I'll be coming," and I was like, "Great,
Yeah.
you should come. It'll be awesome." But he was in town for as sort of like a bookending his 55th college reunion.
Oh my!
He went to college at a small college in Connecticut and has stayed very close. with
Graduated
many-
from college the year I was born.
Exactly, which is just very full circle about
Yeah.
everything.
It's
But
funny that it's not often that I can say that I'm 55 and make myself feel young.
I know. Well, Tripel, always a Tripel will do that for you.
Well, I have the same feeling with Tripel, always a Tripel, because
Yeah.
you and I, Beer Wonder, are of a pretty disparate age,
Mhm.
but my father and your father are not.
No, that's actually correct. That is very
I'm like,
correct.
hey, that makes
Yeah.
us the same generation.
And we are. We're just connected. That's no wonder we're all friends, right? No wonder we're all
Exactly.
friends. Even though I haven't quite broken 40, we're getting there. We're getting very close, y'all. It's going to be very
Oh,
exciting.
snap. No, that's
I
gonna be a
know.
party.
It's almost
Wait,
there.
are you saying your fathers are not of the same generation, or you're?
No,
they're of,
they are.
oh, okay.
They're basically the same age, if I recall correctly. Yeah, they're very close.
He's a couple years younger. Your
My
dad.
my father, yes.
And then
My
my
dad had
father would be
dad's
the
80th
oldest of the
birthday
three.
a couple months ago. Yes, you're
Yes, and Father Brown Stout is the oldest of the three.
Yes,
but my dad and
It's
Captain's
smidgen.
dad are now octogenarians, so
Yep.
I
There you go.
don't think the Tripel is there yet.
Not quite yet. No, he's got a couple of years to go.
Right.
But yeah, it was great. And while he was up there, he was drinking beers in old dorm rooms with people, telling me all sorts of great stories about that. Apparently, his cohort of people have classed up their beers a little bit,
Oh, good.
which we were both proud to hear, mostly because during our time in Belgium, he already had a taste for finer beers, and now that taste has grown after we spend how many hours drinking beers together in
Oh,
Belgium.
man.
And so he was happy to see that it was a slightly finer set of beers. But yeah, we took him to Pony. We went for Taco Mondays, and we all had some pretty good beers.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
No triples on the board. I mean, they're kind of rare, I guess.
No tripels on the board, unfortunately. However, we did. He and I and my sister went to Evil
course.
Twin. Yeah, exactly. Evil Twin, which, as you know, is in near my undisclosed
Oh,
location.
so this is the Dumbo location.
This is the Dumbo location,
Yeah.
exactly. And we went there and we went and we had decided to have a drink together. It was a beautiful day, so we sat outside. It was lovely. As is his wont, the Tripel chose to have a flight. And because they did not have Tripels, he decided to go for the next closest thing, which were triple IPAs,
Which they have plenty of.
which they had plenty of. And so he had a flight that was almost exclusively triple IPAs,
Oh,
the
man.
lowest ABV of which was 9.7.
Wow.
Right
And
there.
I gotta say, I just stuck with a plain Irish red that they are doing that's on tap there right now. It's very good. It's really solid. But he downed those like an absolute champion and was fully coherent afterwards. And I was like, "Oh, you are."
He's
I
good.
did. Those
He's
are not.
good.
I did not receive those genes from you.
A
That
true
is
beer
not
Avenger.
how this works. That's not how this works.
Now, is this the first time that you spent time with your sister in New York City?
Well, no. So she lives here. She is currently.
I
working,
know.
Yep, currently working for a major show.
I
is
know that.
currently-
I know that too. I'm just saying
Yes.
I'd never seen you two together, so I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
It's true. She was supposed to join
her-
us in the Pony, but she had
Yes.
like, oh, I think I'm an hour away. I'm like, oh, she's not coming.
Yes, she was scouting a shoot location.
Does she not
because-
like us? She
yes,
know about us and is like, nope.
yes,
Yeah.
she's made full judgment on us. Anybody who wants tickets to her show at any time within the Beer Avenger sphere, who knows what we're talking about?
When
you
it's
can reach
back
out
up
to
and
me.
running again, yes.
When it's
Oh,
back up
okay.
and running again, yeah.
Well, that's nice to hear. Now I know she's a stand-up comic as well.
She is, yeah. She's got
Yeah, so, I mean,
she's got an excellent show that is happening. I'll plug it. Why not? Called
Yeah,
Party
please.
Hat. That is happening. I believe it's every third Wednesday of the month at the West Side Comedy Club at 7 p.m.
and yet you've kept her from us. All
Well,
these
it
years.
just started because her show's taking a break.
I guess
So-
she's kind of
I
busy.
just mean
before-
as
she
a
moved-
person.
Well, I think the deal is she moved here for work, and that job has kept her very busy, which is
Yes.
why perhaps she didn't have
Mm.
time for us. At least
I
that's her
know.
excuse.
Yes.
All right. I'll let it slide.
And Huck, you were
But I
already
know.
gone when she moved here, but
You were unfortunately
was I, though?
so when she moved here, well, when did she move here?
Didn't she live here in the past and then?
well, how long have you been in the fifth largest city in the state of California?
1 year.
1 year. Okay. Yeah, so that actually times out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she moved here
all
last
right,
summer,
all
right?
Yeah.
All right, story checks out. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but but you're right. I have been
keeping her from us. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
in the early days of our beer venging, because she lived in New York for a while and then moved to California, was there for 11 years.
That's
and
what I
came
thought.
back.
Yeah.
I think I may have been
11
intentionally.
years. Okay.
Yes, I might have been keeping her from you at the beginning of that time.
Well, you weren't
know.
sure about us back then. Yeah.
I know you guys were kind of questionable. I was like, look, these people drink all the time. When I go with them, I'm also drinking with them. Is this a safe environment? Turns out it's our life.
It is. Safe is beyond the point.
Speaking of drinking all the time, I got another beer here.
Oh my God, really?
Is that
give me
is
a
that a
record.
title? Safe is beyond the point, or safe is beside the point? I don't know. Anyway, go ahead. You have another beer.
Yes.
And an old brewery that is unofficially become my nemesis. Bottle Logic is back.
Oh my gosh. You and your bottle logic, Huck.
Bottle Logic has returned. Now this beer is called Atmospheric River, which is of course the big storms we had over the winter. This is a West Coast Pilsner featuring Citra and Motueka hops.
Motueka hops.
Hoppy pills.
Yeah.
West Coast style. And it's a good and remember I was giving them a hard time about dates. They put
Right.
a date on it.
Well, look
So,
at that.
I don't know if they heard the podcast or what, but
They did. They did.
and
I'm just
they
going to
did.
say that.
I think they actually liked one of the because they didn't know what you said. They actually liked one of the stories at some point or another.
And
I got my Brooklyn Defend beer,
defend beer.
which I got. I
Defend
think I got at
beer.
Yes.
Comic-Con. so many years ago. Still in good shape because I always hand wash it, so the thing hasn't worn off.
Yeah,
It also
very-
reminds me of the beer wonder as well. This glass.
Oh, well,
There
that's
he
kind.
is.
Look at that. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful
lovely.
pour. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, if you had, I mean,
If I worked,
similar, I
if I
suppose.
worked out a little bit more, is what you're saying. Also, he has more hair than I do.
Could be
True.
a wig. Could be a
That's
wig.
true. It could be a wig. But
Anyway,
now,
cheers. Oh, please.
cheers. No, I was going to say, can you show us that can one more time? Because
Yeah.
it reminded me, because you guys had all those storms. I feel like here in Gotham, we had an incident recently.
Oh my gosh.
that with all the orange haze and
Oh, yeah.
Captain. If I recall, you were drinking through all of that.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Well, I was drinking through some of it. It turns out I had taken the day off from my outside job that day, the first day
That
of
was a
it.
good call.
Well, it was only by happenstance because I happened to be doing one of our other jobs that day.
Oh, okay, fair.
Was it a beer thing or was it? I might have been a beer and cheese. I honestly don't
Okay.
remember. But I had a gig that day,
Okay.
and what was it? Well, it was a tea. I think I had a tea that afternoon,
perfect.
and so I was mostly inside. And I was just like, unlike the rest of us, I wasn't taking pictures of it because I figured, well, there's so many pictures out there already. But yeah, it was literally, I looked out the window and it looked like when it's Mars in a movie. And so
It was wild.
but at some point or another, I decided, well, I'm going to go see a movie because, of course, I'm indoors most of the time if I'm going to see a movie, even though later I
Yeah.
found out that apparently the air quality was worse underground.
Great.
Whoopee.
Great.
But yeah, I hadn't been to the Metrograph in a while. I went to see a movie
Oh,
there,
nice.
which is very close to the Grand Delancey. And so I wound up going to have a beer at actually several beers at one full beer and several small beers at the Grand
Fair.
Delancey. And of course,
That's how
this
you
was
do it.
2 days after I ran into you and your dad ran into.
That's true.
We planned it.
Yes.
It was a couple days. But Jess, who was a bartender at the Pony Bar,
Right.
was also
Yes.
at the Grand Delancey. So I chatted with her for a while. It was nice because they were doing a special event there with, I think it was with Other Half, basically just talking about Pilsners, that whole
Ooh.
panel there. And I was worried that they'd be closed for that. It was like a ticketed event. It's like, no, people could hang at the bar. Just like, when we went there for the World Cup, like
Right,
the,
yes.
the place down where people watching with TV where all of that was, and the bar was pretty much clear. So I wound up having a flight of 4 beers. And the one I liked the best, this was actually pretty funny. The one I liked the best, I thought I had never had before, but it turned out I had had it 8 days before.
Oh God.
Or 9 days before. Yeah, because it was when I had the Proletariat. It was
Right.
some New Jersey Baltic Porter, and I'll remember that later because I don't feel like looking it
I was
up.
gonna
right now.
say, so you must remember what it was. You had it twice.
Yeah, it was. Well, no. So now the next time I order it again, think it's the first time, I'll realize again. But that's why I have that 1,500 unique pour thing on Untappd, because I always want to look it up. I'm like, well, that sounds like. But I tried 4. I was like, well, this is the best one of all of them. And there was actually one that I
Baltic
had
Porter, yeah.
remembered having that I didn't order anyway. But it was a great experience. I wish I'd been able to stay for the Pilsner Summit, but I had that movie to get to, so I went to that. It was interesting. It was allegedly sold out, but there were definitely some empty seats. So I think some people had bought their tickets in advance, decided, yeah, not today.
Well, yeah, I was going to say lots of people and things were canceling. I went to a mildly fancy dinner that evening, and it was supposed to be a group of 10, and only 3 of us showed. So,
Yeah. And then the next day, air quality was still pretty bad, although it was much more appealing to look at. But I just decided, since everything on the news was saying don't go outside, to take a vacation day from my job where I had to be outside.
it seems reasonable.
I think so. But yeah, everything seems pretty clear now. There's some rumors of stuff coming back, but who knows when we'll have something that crazy again.
Oh, wow.
But yeah. So the Metrograph, in keeping a score with my picks and pints and pours, whatever. Grand Delancey is a good one to go to. I also went to see yesterday. I went to see a movie at Lincoln Plaza. Not Lincoln Plaza. Lincoln Center.
Yeah.
Lincoln Plaza. That
Plaza,
theater
it's called.
doesn't exist anymore. But
Oh.
this is the one that's across the street from Walter Reed. It's called
Oh.
Eleanor Bunham something or other.
Mhm.
Was
Yeah,
it
it was
actually in the Lincoln
Her.
Plaza?
It's on 65th Street, but it's like part of that whole Lincoln Center area.
It is. Is
yeah.
it part of the Lincoln Center buildings?
I mean,
Oh,
kind of.
yeah.
I think it is. It's hard to see where things end and begin. It's like because
Some friends of mine run those theaters over there.
okay, the movie theaters or the theater
The
theaters?
movie theaters.
Yeah, well,
Movie.
that was one of them. Then it was Ellen or something, and then Walter Reed across the street from that. And there's not a lot of great bars around there. They have a few beers they have for sale at the concession stand, but I decided to walk up 6 blocks to the 72nd Street, 7 blocks to see the 72nd Street Beer Culture.
Right.
Mm.
I never did go to that place.
And one of the beers I had was like, this is funny. Like ever since Emma left town, I've been seeing Tripels everywhere. I'm like, we should have bought a
Exactly.
beer.
Exactly.
And
We did not do well by him, unfortunately,
beer
in that
cult-
regards.
Barrel Culture had a new Tripel from Transmitter there.
Oh,
yeah, Transmitter.
that's
they're
fun.
out of Brooklyn. Yeah.
And then I was looking at their menu, their cans and bottles. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of Belgian stuff in here, a lot of Tripels. And the reason is because I was looking at their import section.
Oh,
But also their import section is listed as Belgium/import. So clearly they have a focus on Belgium for their imports. It had a lot of the beers that we had when we were over there, as well as and some of those were those Tripels, and they also had the Transmitter Tripel. And that's I'm seeing that everywhere I go, because tomorrow, or if you're listening to this on Monday, 3 days ago, the Beer and Cheese Collective is having a Transmitter free beer and cheese pairing.
fun.
And that Tripel is one of the ones they're having there too. So now Tripels are looking for me now that always the Tripel has left town.
Of course, always.
That's how.
And
it
I'm
goes.
sure we'll have a hook up soon where we'll say actually he prefers triple, because I think he does, but I'm not positive.
Triple, always the triple.
I think he does prefer the triple. That is correct. Well, we've already fixed that now.
Which we're always torn, because Tripel Man insists politely,
It is
because
Tripel
he's
Man.
Canadian, is Tripel Man.
Yes. Yes.
Well, we want to distinguish between a triple IPA or a triple. I mean, but they don't really do triple stouts. It's usually imperial stouts.
That's true.
Well, that's true.
Now, this smoke event was
Yeah.
for Cider Girl and myself. This was our first big New York disaster that we weren't around for.
That's correct. How did you feel about that?
because we lived in we moved there in Bricken, actually. I can't say her name away. Was there in 1989, and I was there in 1990, and so we've been there for everything.
So you're experiencing a little bit of FOMO last week.
Not really.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're gonna miss one, I'd miss that one.
Just like, yeah, I missed that. I mean, it was interesting to see in the sky. I didn't need to breathe it.
Yeah, no. Oh,
But,
God,
I mean,
it was
every
unpleasant.
Hurricane Sandy and the 9/11 and even the first World Trade Center bombing, and there was
Right, yeah.
the 03 blackout, which I was actually out of town for that, but
Oh,
came back and had to experience the aftermath of it
sure.
at my workplace, which was not pleasant. I threw away a lot of calamari that day.
Oof. Oof. But that's-
Captain's coming in the conversation like, what?
But that
Anyway,
was aromatic.
This is a lovely hoppy pills.
Oh, yep. We have to get
5%,
back to the beers.
5%.
Doing
Good
what it needs
flavor,
to do.
real drinkable, and a hoppy flavor. You get a little bit on the nose, but it's still a pills. Good on you. Bottle Logic. Still, it's not. It's not. It's fine. It's not that great. I don't want to give too much. I don't wanna
How
give
do
too
you
much credit.
how do you really feel here?
I don't know. It's funny because I'm starting a feud with this brewery. They don't even fucking know who
Yeah,
I am.
no clue. Nope.
I need to get T-shirts. Well, you know what they're known for is imperial stouts with all the flavors.
That's true.
Yeah.
The bottles, they're at the market where I go. I told you guys about the market. The beer section is great,
Yes.
great selection, and they have the bottles. They have a big selection of them, maybe 5 or 6 different styles all the time. But they're $25 a bottle.
Ah,
So the frugal gourmet in me is like, yeah, I'll let it go. If it was a special occasion or something, like if you guys came out, I'll go get a Bottle Logic bottle.
Yeah, I think for me those are the ones where I get them saying I'll drink this some point. I don't buy them for a special occasion. I don't buy them at the time of the special occasion, but I buy them in advance for some special occasion that might happen in the future.
Yeah, like my cellar, which is a wine fridge.
It's fair. It's valid.
I bought a Firestone Walker. What do they call those?
Parabola? No, that is it Parabola?
Right, Parabola is one, but it was actually it's different. It's like a tequila, or there was Asian tequila bottles. I think it's a stout, but it's Asian tequila bottles.
Okay.
And I bought it like a year ago, and it's still in the box. You know, it's like a bottle in a box, and it's just been in there. So
Yeah.
at some point we're gonna drink.
I've gotten a
that
few
one.
of those on occasion. They're the ones who make one of my very. It's funny. You think about your favorite beers, and sometimes the ones are just like it's because they take you back to when you first had them.
Yes. Yes.
Because I remember the first time I had the Firestone Walker Velvet Merkin. And I've had the Velvet Merlin since then. I feel like I will never fully appreciate the Velvet Merlin because I had the Velvet Merkin first.
I see.
And I haven't seen many of them
What
since.
is the difference?
Well, I mean, Velvet Merkin is like it's aged longer.
Okay.
It's got some other stuff. Velvet Merlin is basically just a standard oatmeal stout, a very good one.
Okay, so
But
it's
the
more bourbon barrel aged stout. The Merkin.
I think so. My basic remembrance of it was that it tasted like a liquid, dark chocolate covered truffle.
Oh. That sounds pretty good.
That sounds really good, actually.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I've occasionally found it since then. I think there was one point where like I wound up buying a bottle in one of those cardboard boxes you were talking about that I just kept in the refrigerator for a while. Like this is for a special occasion.
Yeah.
And speaking of beers that I have special place in my heart for, I'm ready for my second pour.
Oh my
And
goodness, very exciting.
because
yes,
I was doing a little research on this. I'm going to tell you the story of this one after I pour it. But I have here the AleSmith Speedway Stout.
Oh my gosh.
And I know you're probably wondering the same thing I was. Haven't we had this before?
I thought we had, yeah.
It's never been on the show. But I'm not going to tell you that history until it's poured here.
Okay.
And I'm going to pour it in the same glass as the Single Negative because I think they share enough DNA that they will work well together.
That.
Share enough DNA.
Yep. This is a California beer, if I'm not mistaken.
It
right?
is. I visited there when I was in San Diego. I brought some of
Do they
it back.
brew back east, or they just
I think
have
they
good distribution.
It's I don't know specifically because I mean they have
We've never had
distributor
Speedway
here.
Stout on the show.
We have not. There we go. But this is one of my favorite beers, and it's possible that my favorite one is their Vietnamese one. But their original one is fantastic. I'm going to have some of it right now.
Yeah, go for it.
You should.
Oh, it's so good. But I looked up on that's one of the reasons why I sent you guys the spreadsheet because I was updating it. I wanted to update it, and I also wanted to look like, have I had this one? Because when I went to San Diego, I talked about this place a lot. It might have been the most unique brewery experience one of the best brewery experiences that I had the entire time. I would say it was one of the top two places I wanted to go to, and it was one of the top two places that I went to. And they've had so many different versions of this Speedway Stout. They've got the Vietnamese one. The one I brought back with me was the Mexican version. There's a Thai. But this is one of my favorites from way back. It's one I always use as an example when I want to talk about a beer that has a really high ABV but doesn't taste like it. So dangerous in that way. This is a 12%. This is a 12. So I told you I'd make up for it when I had this.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Regular Speedway Stout is generally 12%.
Almost all of them are 12%, but yeah.
Wow. Because it's so common. It's not common, but it is kind of common.
As far as like beers today, like I mean, here's what kind of happened was this isn't a sponsored pour. I should say it isn't a
Sponsored pour.
Oh my gosh, that was very exciting. I liked it.
This is not that, but it was purchased at the Beer and Cheese Collective. I mentioned this because you may be able to get it there, or you may not, because I might buy all of it. because every time I go in there these days, I walk out. Once I discovered it there because I hadn't seen it around in a while, and it's only like $6 a can.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
that's the other thing. They're not expensive. Yeah.
So every time I go in there these days, I come back with a 4-pack of it. So you may be able to find it there. You may not. If not, keep your eyes up for it. It's an amazing, incredible classic beer, 12% that tastes like an 8.
Oh,
And
bless it.
it's yeah.
I have a similar thing back to the market that I go to.
Mm.
They have 6-packs of Fremont Dark Star,
yeah.
which I think you've had different versions of that. This is just the regular Dark Star. It's like 8-something%, maybe, and a 6-pack, 12-ounce cans for $11.
Wow.
Yeah,
Pretty great.
and I'm like, if the captain comes out here, I'm just going to get that for our regular
All right.
drinking beers in the house.
Well, certainly better than
Poolside beers.
considering all the
Poolside beers.
situation.
My God.
That it's better to have that one as a recurring go-to than say Founders Porter.
Fair. Speaking of
fuck founders.
hashtag fuck founders, also,
Hashtag Founders, yeah.
speaking though
makes
of
me
the
sad.
world of
So sad.
of our macro brews of
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
people-
get back into that. Yeah.
because here's the thing, I keep tabs on things, and I have news from the world.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Please. Breaking
Well,
news
anytime
here
in
on
the
the
world.
Adventures.
From the world. Yeah, breaking news. This came out yesterday. We talked about Bud Light and how we all have to start drinking it along with Coors Light because support
They're
Dylan
woke.
Mulvaney and all this stuff. Yeah, they're woke finally. I have bad
Except
news.
they're
We're-
not, but yeah.
well, yeah, sure. But here's the thing. I have bad news because I'm afraid that in last week's sales, Bud Light dropped from its number one spot
Oh my God.
as America's number one beer. And what took its place was Modelo Especial.
All right.
That's wild. I need to update my list.
And I have concerns, folks.
Okay.
I have mild concerns here because if the goal of our conservative friends is to buy American, then we're failing in a lot of different ways. Because the last time I checked, Modelo was a Mexican brand. Yes.
Is it though?
Yes. Well,
Well,
Yes.
technically,
Did
it's
it
fair.
start there?
I believe it is. It is described in all news reports I can find as a Mexican brand, but it is
Well,
owned by
fake news.
AB. I know, right? Fake news, but it is owned by our friends at AB
May not be
InBev,
fake news.
which, as Captain, you are wont to remind me, is also not American.
It is not. It is Dutch. But I also want to say that, like, I don't know if Modelo actually comes from Mexico, and was it an American beer trying to co-opt the Mexican beer drinker?
it is a Mexican beer.
It does come from Mexico.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That doesn't surprise me, but also wouldn't surprise me if it was cultural appropriation. But okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's good.
my understanding is that it is actually a Mexican beer. Excuse me.
Okay.
So now, in an attempt to ruin our trans brethren here, Happy Pride Month, everyone.
Yeah.
We have now made a Mexican beer the top selling beer in America, and I feel like this is just a very problematic statement for anybody who is further right than we are.
Sure.
Which should
sure,
be
'cause
everybody.
Yeah. They well, yeah. Everybody should be further right than we are.
I
No,
think
I mean, is.
Yeah.
fair, but like
I mean, I'm not, okay.
I just want to briefly call out the general hypocrisy that we have going on here, in that we boycotted the most American beer, which is actually owned by a Dutch company, and in doing that, we managed to make a Mexican beer, which apparently we, meaning the Red Hats, are not super thrilled about, the number one beer in the country.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
do believe that before we get into Huck Up, InBev is Belgian.
Yeah,
Oh, they're
Belgian, thank you.
Okay.
They're Belgian,
okay.
yes.
I meant,
But
yes.
Yes,
Love
but-
to the Dutch.
love you, Dutch, but also Belgium, and also but what are we doing, folks? Like-
Get that as a soundbite.
What is going on here? I can't take it anymore. Okay, just
Dutch
drink
is
the
one of the
damn-
languages of Belgium, so yeah.
Fair, but just no. But just drink the damn beers, y'all. Just drink the damn beers, okay? Stop with this nonsense. Because now you're trying. If you want to be racist and homophobic and all of that at once, just go have just drink.
Pick a lane.
I'm just
Yeah.
imagining the board meetings of these Dutch people
Yeah.
or the Belgians, who were saying, "Oh no, people are buying less of this one of our beers, and now they're buying more of another of our beers. Whatever shall we do? Oh, the maggots are going to put us out of business. Oh dear me, because they're spending money on something else we make instead of the other thing we make."
Yes, yes.
People, it's like the people saying, "I don't want government to touch my Social Security." I'm like, they're the ones who give it to you to begin with. Yeah, it's
I know. But I do have
They
a
need to
broader
bring
question.
back that whole dilly thing to get it going, so
dilly
the Bud
dilly.
Light.
Is that
Yeah,
like
that was a big promotional thing they did a few years ago.
Oh, is that like when they were doing the the
There was like a king of a kingdom that like they like to drink Bud Light, and he would say dilly dilly, and it just became a catchphrase.
I kind of
Bud Light.
remember that.
Got it.
I just remember it because it's a fucking annoying.
Were they also the
Oh,
ones who
yeah.
had the "What's Up" ads?
Are they the ones who had the "What's Up" ads?
I don't know. It's
I-
like "What's up?
honestly don't
What's
remember.
up?"
That might be regular Bud.
Okay. And then I remember the frogs.
Good question though.
Yes,
Frogs or regular Bud?
The frogs were definitely regular Bud. But all I'm saying is, so really the question begs, Beer Vengers, do we need to be drinking Bud Light or should we be drinking Modelo Especial?
Well, please.
No, please. I'm just saying because one, we can support Dylan Mulvaney, but the other one, I kind of like the idea that a Mexican beer is now the top beer being sold in America because that feels correct.
Well, here in Fresno, I don't know if you know this, it's a very Mexican town.
Uh-huh.
It's not a negative thing. We are.
Yeah.
We're Mexico North over here, although we don't speak Spanish. So it's a little different. But I went to this every bar you go to, they sell cervezas almost, and it's
Okay,
like
nice.
a lot of Mexican restaurants. So I go to this place for an open mic, Locked In, lovely place. It's on the corner, nice folks. It's a bit divey. They have the Barrel House Mango IPA. I told you about that last time.
Yep.
And I've been drinking the Guinness there in a can, the nitro cans. I'm like, but I was like, I don't want the mango. I don't want the Guinness right now. I want something else. So I said to the girl, "What's flowing? What's pouring? Because at least it'll be like clean,
Fresh. Yeah.
fresh." And she said, "Oh, Modelo Especial is flying off the shelves." I said, "All right, give me one of those."
There you go.
It's not great.
Yeah.
It's not great. It goes flat very quickly.
Okay.
And what was interesting was I had about like this much or less than this in the glass, and I was like, it looks super flat. So I spun it a little bit, and it was like, oh, okay, and it had a little, got a little head going. You gotta like rev it up like you gotta crank the engine. Oh no, there we go. We got some foam, but it was not good, and I wished I hadn't had it. And I don't want Modelo, and I don't want Bud Light. They're disgusting. They're both disgusting beers. Thank you.
They are, and I think we need to. And they're not disgusting because of who supports their beer. That's
No.
want to
It's
make
just
lazy clear on that.
brewing, cheap
we're-
ass brewing.
Yeah. That's
Yes. No. We are supportive of all the people behind the scenes, but the concept, the actual product that is put forward is not
Yes.
our favorite.
If I had a brewery, I would send Dylan Mulvaney some of my beer, so she could promote that
Well-
instead of a shitty beer. But I don't. So
And-
if you're a brewery, you should send Dylan Mulvaney your beer so we can stop talking
Well-
about fucking Bud Light.
That's true. Well, and speaking of Pride beers, since it is Pride Month and this will come out
Please.
as we're heading into Pride Month, I
Oh,
do
yeah.
want to give a massive shout out to Brooklyn Breweries, who is currently on a social media tear against trolls who have who have gone after their website because they have been very outspoken about they do a Stonewall IPA, and so they do a lot of fundraising, especially around.
And they've been doing that for
June.
years.
They've been doing it for years, since 2017. And so they've had people attacking them on their website, and they basically said, if you don't like our beers and you don't like we're not going to stay in our lane and just talk about beer. And if you don't like that, you can drink someone else's beer. And I was like, good job, Brooklyn.
Good for them. Good for
Good
them.
for you.
Yeah,
And of course,
yeah.
there's tons of Pride beers. New York Brewers Guild is doing a Pride beer tasting festival that's happening. I think it's sometime just after this podcast will have been launched. But it's $15, includes 2 tastes, and then you can buy as many as you want. But many of our local breweries are going to be showing off their Pride beers. It's always a good time. They're always light or IPAs. So I'm waiting for the Pride Stout.
Yeah, let's get something heavy going. Yeah.
I want
yeah.
a 13% barley wine, barrel aged with
Oh.
glitter.
If
That's what I
only we
want.
if only we were brewers, that's what we would do.
Wait a minute. Here we need to call it barrel aged stout, except bear is spelled BEAR.
BEAR.
right,
There
right,
you go.
right.
There you go. And you
The
know that.
bottle- the bottle will have like fur on the label.
Naturally. Yep. No, I
Yeah,
think that
literal fur. I think that I agree. I like, yeah, or if not on the label, on the on the 4-pack thing. Instead of like the plastic will be like covered in bear fur
Yeah, I like
or
that.
faux
I like
faux bear fur because we don't want to.
faux.
exactly.
We don't want to
Yeah.
encourage the killing of bears.
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly. I see. Honestly, I think there's a
I couldn't
there's a
bear
market
that.
Covering
for
all our
this.
bases here.
The market is primed. I think it's ready. Hey, brewers, if you want to do a collab with your friends, the Beer Avengers, you just let us know.
Oh yes,
Just saying.
the
We would do a
beerly
whole
wine.
Bear Avengers month.
Bear Avengers month. Oh, we would drink
Oh,
it so
yeah.
much. It'd be good.
Yeah,
I've always enjoyed that. I felt like although I do identify as heterosexual, I like the idea. I feel like I'm an honorary bear, just because that it's nice to be objectified by someone.
if you haven't seen the captain,
Big
without a
hairy-
shirt
big-
on, he's a hairy man.
And big
This is
hairy
the-
men don't generally get fetishized by the straight community, so it's nice to know there's one that like puts a high whatever. I don't know what
High price tag.
price tag is not
premium.
premium.
There you
That's
go.
that's the word I was looking for. Puts a high premium on that. So yeah.
Now I'm just selling you off to the highest bidder at this point,
It's all right.
Captain. That's what I'm doing.
Well, thank you, my young otter friend.
Oh,
I do what I can.
but I don't know. I don't know if I've seen the Beer Wonder with his shirt off.
I'm otter.
have.
I'm otter adjacent. I don't think I would fully. I don't think I'd be fully accepted into the otter community.
Otter's gotta be as hairy as a bear, I think.
Basically, yeah,
Pretty,
but that's what they
thinner.
call skinny bears. Skinny
Yes.
bears are otters.
Skinny bears, yeah.
So, in any case,
Getting deep now.
I know we're getting really deep. Huck, have you had any beer adventures that we should be aware of?
Well, just the other night, I actually was at a place called Spoke Easy. Shout out to Spoke Easy. Great little beer bar. And they have a nice tap list. Only about 8, 9, maybe 10 taps. So they're not like, but their can selection is crazy. I told you a few weeks ago they had Trilliums
All right.
in the fridge. And then I was there on Tuesday and I grabbed a Heady Topper.
Oh yeah. Oh, a
Which is like-
classic.
I know I've had it on the show.
Mhm.
It's still a rare thing to see out here, but it had a Heady Topper, and it was really good. And I drank it from the can, which they recommend doing. It was
Yeah, I was
excellent.
gonna. How was that?
It was very good. I would have preferred to have a glass,
Okay.
but drinking it out of the can, I did get all the right flavors, and it's still a great beer. I'm pro Heady. And then I had a second beer. This is an interesting brewery. I don't know if you've heard of this brewery. It's called Blank Brewing.
I have
And
not.
when I say blank, I mean nameless. I don't know. It's like the prince's symbol. It has just
Yes.
an underlined.
hmm
It's just an underlined area of nothing. Nothing brewing, right? It's just an underline. You understand what I'm saying?
Blank.
Blank brewing,
There you go.
like it's match game. Yeah. So Blank Brewing, and they're part of the 12% thing because they're out of North Haven.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's pretty
And
cool.
I had a New Zealand style Pilsner. Actually, it was very good. So that was nice to have. And I did go back east. The show, my dear mother passed away this
mhm.
Sorry to
past
hear.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Lovely woman, not a beer drinker, and not a fan of the Beer Avengers podcast.
I mean, when you say she's not a fan, she didn't like that you did it, or
Were
she
we a
just-
little profane for her?
Maybe, I don't know. She started listening to it one day and was like, "What the hell is this?"
honestly, that's
she was
fair.
she was a drinker though. I'll give her
Good,
that. Nice
good.
Irish lady who she enjoyed her Baileys and wine and whatnot. Not really into beer, but
But
anyway,
she did everything
um,
she could to keep people away from listening to this.
she did her best. She wasn't picketing,
Honestly,
She had
Rachel
health
and Tour.
issues. She couldn't get out on the street and picket, but we all loved her very much, and
Mhm.
she's going to be very missed in
Mhm.
our family. But it was hard to be too sad when I was there because I was telling the captain this earlier. I love this family, and I just love these people that are part of it. And it pisses me off because now I live in Fresno, where no one else lives. I got a cousin in LA. I got another cousin in San Diego, but and a cousin in San Francisco. But otherwise, everybody lives back east, and it's like I'm gonna have to come back here again.
Mm. Oh God.
I'm like, I figured, Mom, love you. I don't, I can't visit you anymore, but now we have to. I'm gonna have to go back again. But we did have a very nice, that's the thing with funerals. It's like people gather.
Yeah.
And when you're gathering with people that you don't gather with often and you love them, it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I know
It's
what
a
you mean.
good feeling, and it was actually a beautiful time.
Mm.
I was glad to be with my 4 sisters and their families, and my different cousins. I've had two cousins and a sister on this show.
I know.
So that just like indicates to you how much I love this family. And so I did, and I want to get the brother-in-law on. I know we've mentioned him a few times.
Yes.
We went over to my sister's house and their house on the day after, and you know what he had? He had a lot of fight-ins. You guys had any fight-ins?
You know, the funny thing is, was like we mentioned that Pony Bar is our sponsor, at least for the next month. And he gave me some beers. I was surprised he gave me the beers they gave me from Vitamin C and what was the other one? Beer Wonder.
I don't
Vitamin C
remember.
and somewhere else. Anyway, I'm gonna remember in a minute. But the reason I was
gave you a
surprised,
Fidens can.
well, he didn't, because I saw all the ones he had on the menu seemed to be Fidens. Like
Yeah.
all of them,
Hmm.
all of his cans seem to be Fidens. So perhaps I'll get a chance to try that at some point or another.
So Fidens is one of these. It's one of what we call a hype brewery,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and we've talked about this before. A hype brewery, they make fucking haze. They just make hazy
Yeah.
IPAs, and I, you know, I'm not like into haze as much as I used to be. My view on haze is like, this is good, and I don't notice a difference between hazies until it's not good.
Mhm.
You know, then I'm
Makes
like,
sense.
oh, no, they don't do it well. But otherwise, they all taste the same to me. Other Half, Trillium, Treehouse, and Fidens is on the same list now. And I tried a couple at his house, and they're very good. I mean, they're obviously doing it. They know what they're doing. Very good beers. They're out of Albany, I believe.
Okay.
And yeah, so I had a few Fidens up back east. Didn't have any Treehouse while I was there, and I had a good lager from Zero Gravity out of Vermont, and so that was nice too.
The
But,
other, the other,
R.I.P.
I just,
Eileen, love her. We're gonna miss her,
Mhm.
and she was a big Beer Vengers fan. So
yes,
she'll be missed.
that's what we always start to do when
Now
someone dies.
listen,
We
you
start
guys
to
know
lie
my
about
music,
things, but-
my
yeah.
music that like Fish and Chips, and
Yeah.
she would like tell me to my face, "But you're not a good singer, Michael."
Oh my God.
That reminds me of one time when my late mother came to see me in a show one time.
Yeah.
I was touring. I mean, it's funny because it's like these are. It's so great that like we honor our loved ones' memories, but we also have to tell the truth about them.
Yeah.
It's part
Not
part
wrong.
of it. It's part of it because it's like it's remembering all of them. It's remembering every
That's
bit of
right.
them.
That's right. Every part of
And
them.
I remember one point I was touring the country in a Christmas Carol, and I was in some place near where my parents lived, so they drove out. They figured out how to drive to see me, and we're all having like after the show at like 11 o'clock at night in some diner having dinner, and I was talking about it, and my mother just said, "Can I give you some constructive criticism?"
Oh my God.
Yes.
I didn't
let's
remember
hear it.
what it was, but it was just like, okay, thank you. It was just like, I hear about like, oh, you're my son and I love you and you're wonderful. No, can I give you some constructive criticism?
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
And to bring things, just since I started it, I don't want people to be left in a. The other one Dan gave us was from Garvey's Point.
Right. Yes.
We had
Oh,
that
I've
on
heard
the show
of that.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
they have but yeah, so.
Well, this is good. I'm glad we got together, guys, and we've
too.
We've
Yeah.
successfully done episode number. I
80.
think we're
This is
Oh.
number 80.
I know.
80.
I know.
Just
8-0.
like just like the old man. He just had his 80th birthday. Yeah.
Oh.
Um,
Well, here's the thing. If people want to catch up on the Beer Vengers misadventures, where should they look?
Well, there's lots of good places. If you go to thebeervengers.com, you can see our all of our full of every episode of every single beer we've ever had on the show. It's there.
Wow.
And you can even stream it from there, although you can also find it everywhere you get your podcasts. And if you can't, tell us, so we'll tell you where you can go. Or so, I mean, so we can tell you, so we can figure out how to get it on your preferred platform. But as far as we
That's
know,
true.
we're on all the best platforms. And you can reach out to us on the socials at the Beer Vengers. That's on Facebook. That's on Instagram. That's on Twitter. And you can email us at thebeervengers@gmail.com.
TikTok.
And the TikTokies.
And the TikTok,
TikTokies.
yes. We're going to try and put more and more TikTok stuff on there as soon as we all figure it. Huck is ahead of all of us as far as how all of that works. And right before we go, I do want to mention one more thing since we talked about hookups, because I think this happened like 2-3 episodes ago. No, this is just important because you had a beer from Marlowe.
Yes, I did have a beer
and
from
you
Marlowe.
said that they had closed, and I found out they had only closed their pub in Nyack. Did I mention this on the show? I know I emailed you about it, but did we?
You did email me about it. I don't know that we did mention it on the show, but that is good.
So I think it's important because this is like 3 episodes ago, because I realized it when I was adding all the stuff into the spreadsheet. Marlowe still exists.
Good.
It's just
Thank
their
goodness.
brew club in Nyack closed. They're still brewing at 12% in Connecticut, and presumably they will get their own space again. And
hanging out.
And if you've listened this long, thank you for hearing that. But look for your Marlowe beers.
Some people just fast forward to the hookups at the end. Yeah.
Yes, they do. Even though we've never been consistent ever about when they actually are.
Oh no, we just put them in when they need to come in.
Well, it's like I said last week, we get to a point where we're wrapping up the show, and then 15 minutes later we do.
I know. Well, however, I now see Huck clutching the uke.
He is clutching the uke. I think it's time to we have so many more things we can talk about, but you have other things to do with your life. So we're gonna go. Thanks everyone for listening. Thank you, Huck. Thank you, Beer Wonder, for joining.
Thank you, Captain,
for this wonderful communal experience. And we will see all of you Beer Vengers in the world, and also probably show up again in another couple of weeks. Thanks everybody. Huck, play us out.
With a beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers. Definitively, we're the Beer Vengers.
Oh, fuck yeah, my dude.